Cox. This is the Liquid Green Health Show. And my co-host is Janet Cox. A very warm welcome to all our listeners once again across Canada, the United States, and around the world. Today's broadcast, as usual, is, excuse me, like all our broadcasts, is for educational purposes only and entertainment, of course. Purposely designed to stimulate the mind and help bring us one step closer to living a healthier lifestyle. Today's show is sponsored by Liquid Green Products, producers of eco-superior green cleaning products for your home, office, and car. And I always like to remind you that if you're not using Liquid Green products to clean your home, office, and car,
right?
What else are you using? Okay.
Yeah.
Go to our website at liquidgreenproducts.com. You see all of our products there, and choose the one that you really like. All our broadcasts are being all of our broadcasts will be on YouTube. It's on Facebook. And of course, if you subscribe to the podcast, Spotify, you just type in Liquid Green Health Show and it will come up. If you're watching us on YouTube, do the same thing, Liquid Green Health Show. All right.
And this week we
share,
absolutely and subscribe, right?
Yeah.
And we always say, like, share. The like is great, get followers, etc. But what we want is for people to listen to the show. Because that's what's
and
important.
so much information, so much valuable information you could get from our show. Our email address is liquidgreenhealthshow@gmail.com. Let us know where you are listening to us from. Please get those emails coming in. We want to hear your comment. And especially today, the information you are going to be receiving today is without a doubt top-notch, right? It's second to none. And so today we are continuing our conversation with health guru. He was here last week, and the information was so good, was so positive, so well positively received that we've decided to ask him back. And so today,
lots of questions from folks.
We had lots of questions, and today with us once more is Foster Owusu of Immunotech, a wellness company based in Montreal. And I'm just going to do a brief introduction. I'm going to let him tell you more about himself, but what I know about him, he is an author. He's a natural wealth ambassador. He's written 2 books, How to Fire Your Boss and Hire Yourself, and Leave Nothing, Absolutely Nothing to Chance, co-written by John Solider. He has been with his current company, Immunotech, a Canadian-based wellness company, for more than 23 years. He's a member of the Success Club, also known as the Millionaires Club, a member of Immunotech's Leadership Council. As a servant leader, he loves team and leadership development. And like ourselves, he is extremely passionate about empowering the world with health information, one person, one community at a time. Today, he's here once more with us. Last week, we had a lot of fun, a lot of information.
Without me.
And he specifically asked that my co-host come back today. So I have made a special effort to make her doll up herself.
Oh, right.
And look extra beautiful to be in this show. So Foster, but before we introduce Foster, Foster has made a special effort to be here today.
Yes.
Because he had to ask for time out, right? Because today is one of his son's birthday.
Emmanuel, I think you said, Foster, right?
So Emmanuel, shout out to you. Thank you for allowing us, your dad,
for an hour.
Yeah.
How old is Emmanuel, Foster?
He is the baby. He's 16.
Oh, 16.
Oh, sweet, okay. 16.
Sweet 16.
Correct.
And now the trouble begins.
So Emmanuel, once again, if you're listening, thank you for lending us your father.
And not today. Just Emmanuel, also Mrs. Owusu, because I'm sure she has everything ready to go. So let's get on with the show.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
Okay. Right. So Foster, even without you saying, Janet, I hope you'll come on the show. I would not let Frederick just take you away for 2 shows. So for sure, I wanted to be here with you, right? Frederick, you can't have Foster all to yourself.
No.
So, you know, Foster, to begin, the first thing I'm going to do is something that's not nice. I'm going to throw my doctor under the bus. I know he's not listening, so I'm good. All right. I have a medical condition since I was 19 with my thyroid. And I've spoken about it briefly on the show previously. And, you know, they check your thyroid like so many other things that are health related through our blood, the blood test, and then they tell you what to do and make adjustments. We need doctors for that. But what I realize is that the dosage amount was changed, and he told me that. But when I spoke to the pharmacist, who is actually your best friend after the doctor, or I don't even know if you say before the doctor, but he says the dosage that you get is going to be very costly. So can your doctor give it to you, same thing in 2 different numbers, and because you have OHIP, etc., we're in Canada, we get help as seniors, it would be a difference of over $100 to about $6. And he has not done that in weeks. So why we do shows like this, Foster, and why I'm especially glad to be talking to you today is because we have to let our listeners know. I'm sure most of people who listen to a health show, they're really concerned about their health. And we cannot just leave it all to our doctors. Yeah. We need them, Frederick, right? We need them for the tests, and they have the expensive equipment and the machinery to check our levels, etc. But after that, we need to be proactive, and we need to take our health in our hand.
And that's what we're going to be talking about today, because Foster has a lot of information. And what we're going to be talking about, and again, I'm repeating myself to our listeners, if you have a friend that you can contact quickly, let them listen to this show. Yes, right? Because the information you're going to be getting here is absolutely important to the maintenance of proper health. And with that, Foster, we'd like to welcome you once again back to the Liquid Green Health Show.
Okay.
Thank you for having me, Fred. And also thank you for bringing Janet on, because my wife was upset hearing me complaining about Janet wasn't on the show. She said, did you get a whole hour? I said, I did. So she said, so what's the problem? I said, no, an hour with Fred is not the same as an hour with Fred and Janet. So I'm glad you're here, Janet, and you're going to be nicer to me than Fred. He was tough.
Of course, of course. So let's jump right into it. You know, we had a doctor friend. Do you remember his name?
Summersall.
Dr. Summersall. Yeah. May he rest in peace. He's passed on. And one day I know we were talking with him, and we said, you know, with all the supplements out there, like there's so many things, so many good companies, lots of them reputable. What it is, if you had a choice to just do one, what would that be? Foster, I'm not going to let you guess. What did you think his answer was?
And of course, he was smart enough to mention about Immunocal.
Immunocal.
Excellent.
And so that's what we're going to be talking about today. Yes. Frederick and I, we do not go without it. We actually fight over it, Foster.
Oh, there's a fight.
If he takes, when we buy a box, we actually try to get 2 boxes, but then we will go through all of that later in terms of, so people will know what we mean by the 2 different boxes, right? But to get started, what is Immunocal, the product? Why is it that we don't want to go a day without it?
So I will talk about what Immunocal is, but at some point, please remind me to share a short story about how Dr. Summersall himself stumbled on this.
Okay.
Because it is important for our audience to know this. Dr. Summersall was the one who helped wrote the book Breakthrough in Cell Defense.
Right.
And that book described this particular subject in a very extensive way. So what is Immunocal? Immunocal is a special protein, but I want to say something that it will benefit the audience. is a special whey protein, which is W-H-E-Y, whey. But what is really unique about this particular protein is the W-A-Y, the way this protein was designed. And immunocal is simply a special protein precursor for the production of glutathione, which I believe is the subject that you and Fred are interested in today.
Absolutely.
And I can also tell you that before we even advance to get into the serious stuff about what glutathione is,
yes, right.
I want the audience to know that number one, I'm not wearing tie because of Fred. It's partly for Janet. But the word glutathione, if you are hearing about this for the first time, as I did 24 years ago, it's not an easy word to pronounce, but very soon, if you permit me, I'll take my tie off. But if you want to learn how to pronounce glutathione, just think about glutathione, glutathione. If you can remember glutathione, you can pronounce
glutathione.
it.
Okay, cool. I like that.
Yeah. But here's a simple analogy, because Fred comes from British Guyana and I'm from West Africa, Ghana. The way to understand how glutathione is made is, again, when we use the word precursor. Precursor is simply the raw material or the building blocks. So because Fred is from British Guyana and I'm from Ghana, West Africa, we have something called fufu. And the fufu is a combination of, a number of things. In some cases, a little bit of cassava, or what some people call dashin, or maybe a little bit of plantain, or a little bit of yam.
Right.
You need all this. Without that, you cannot have fufu. The same way you need to understand that glutathione is made out of 3 essential amino acids. One of them is called glutamate. The second one is glycine. And then the most critical one is called cysteine. These 3 are what they are referred to medically as tripeptide. These 3 amino acids must travel in the body, holding hands together. Once they enter through the cell membrane, the cell will be able to produce its own glutathione. But the immunocal is the raw material, the building block that helps the body to make its own glutathione. One final thing. Glutathione is not something you just give the body. You can't eat plantain and cassava and you have fufu. No.
Right.
You have to give what it needs for the body to make its own. So glutathione is made at the cellular level.
Correct.
And this is very important because the company that you are referring to is the very first one that was able to come out with a natural product that helps the body to produce glutathione.
Correct.
Doesn't mean it's the company that discovered the first glutathione. If you do your glutathione research, glutathione has been around since 1888. It was the French researchers who found it. But up until, let's say, the late 70s, there was no natural way of raising glutathione in a very safe and effective way. They have drugs like things called NAC and others that have had, that they use in the emergency wards when somebody has drug overdose and other stuff to help them out. Because according to emergency physicians, if you can raise a person's glutathione level, you can keep them alive for at least 4 or 5 hours for them to find out
what's really going on.
Problem is. So let's keep that in mind.
Right, and I'm glad you segued to glutathione, because the first question was immunocal, but the most important thing, as Foster said, is the glutathione that is made in the body. That's the only thing. Every living thing has glutathione. Right. Whether you're an insect, you're a plant, an animal, every living thing has glutathione, and you cannot live without it. Without it, you would perish. Right. Now,
and so what about those? I mean, Foster, we know so many companies that sometimes I feel distraught because there are hundreds of supplements out there Glutathione, you can buy glutathione in any health store. And we really know that it's not going to do what it's really designed to do because it can only be produced in the body. Correct? As you both
That
said.
is correct. And I think
Right?
Foster would support me on this. That's all about marketing. And thanks to Immunicol, that, as Foster said, it's the only company in modern age that has done extensive, literally thousands and thousands of hours on the glutathione molecule. And so when you see glutathione being sold and advertised in the stores, you ask any one of the representatives, they will tell you the truth, what glutathione is good for. What they will not say to you is that it has to be made in the human cells.
Right.
You cannot eat glutathione and get any results. You just pass it out.
Yes.
Right. So when you're buying it in the stores, you basically, for the lack of a better term, you're buying junk.
Yeah, wasting your money.
Right.
Now, Foster, I know you're not a doctor, neither are we, but I have to compliment you because you sound like a doctor. So I could even say Dr. Owusu and nobody would question me because that's what you sound like. And I know because you hang out with doctors. You have been with Immunicol, and I know the top scientists, the top researchers, you call them friends. And that's why I know we can, without a doubt, talk to you about some of the things that we would have been asking a doctor. You know, you sent us some information, and one of the doctor, what was his name?
Maybe Dr.
Gutman.
Jimmy Gutman, you refer to.
Jimmy Gutman.
Yes.
He mentioned PubMed. I actually made a note of that because he said that's a body, it's a depository of research, it's the largest in the world. And he says the amount of information that is published on vitamin C, vitamin E combined is less than the research that's done on glutathione. And yet so many people don't know about it. He also mentioned the idea. He said the best way to remember glutathione was it's a great idea. Could you explain those idea to us?
The idea part is, let's look at each letter. So the idea, the A stands for antioxidant. The A stands for antioxidant, but you know, the antioxidant, if you just leave it as antioxidant, then you are diminishing the value of glutathione. All the known antioxidants, such as vitamin C, vitamin E, selenium, pycnogenol, and you can go on and on and on. Every one of these antioxidants depends on glutathione to be able to function at the optimum level. That's why doctors like Dr. Oz refers to glutathione as the superhero of all antioxidants. Of course, it's Dr. Oz. He has to get a little bit animated. But the A, yes, the idea, the A stands for antioxidant. But you know, let's say when he talks about idea, the I is the first thing that he was talking about. But glutathione, the primary function is for the immune system. And some doctors refer to glutathione as food for the immune system, because we know that glutathione, once it's elevated to the level that it's supposed to be, it protects the immune system to fight things like infection, bacteria, viruses, and all of that. And, you know, when the immune system is healthy, you can literally almost fight any and every disease. So that's number one. The D is for detoxification. You know, detoxification in the sense that the main organ in our body that, let's say, get rid of toxins is the liver.
Yep.
Now, the liver is also concentrated. It has high amount of glutathione to be able to function. So literally, if your liver is failing, naturally things like jaundice and other things that I don't want to get into can happen. So we have a little bit of control in terms of what goes inside our body. but we don't control how things come out of our body. That's where things like the liver must be healthy. So when we say glutathione, it's an idea. The I is for the immune system. The D is for detoxification.
For example, Foster, I'm just going to interject here before you leave the I, because for so many listeners, the list of ailments, diseases that affect us. So, for example, if the kidneys are affected, what are we going to get?
Well, things like diabetes.
Right. And if the heart has levels are not.
Let me correct it. If it's the kidney that we're talking about, things
kidney
like,
disease.
Kidney disease, that's where people end up in dialysis. But
dialysis,
I was thinking about the pancreas is the
right.
Sorry.
Yeah.
And the heart.
Yeah.
When the levels are low, it's heart attack.
Yeah.
Right. So what were you going to say?
I was going to say, I just want to touch on one of the things that Foster was mentioning when he talked about detoxification. Dr. Gottman said it very succinctly. He said, next to water, to water, the most important thing is glutathione.
In terms of
detoxification. So that's how important. And doctors also refer to glutathione as the master antioxidant.
Yes.
So it doesn't matter what type of antioxidants you're doing.
Yeah.
None of them are as efficient and could do what glutathione does. And as Foster mentioned earlier, he talked about vitamin C and stuff like that. I like to think of glutathione as like a traffic cop. It directs where everything goes. You take a vitamin C, you take vitamin D.
Nothing works without it.
Nothing works without glutathione. Okay. So that is how important this conversation is. And that's why I said to our listeners, if you have a friend, please get them to the radio, get them to the show, let them hear about this very, very important molecule.
Okay, Foster, we'll let you pick up with the E.
Yeah, so the E is the energy. So we all hear about the cell energy source called the mitochondria. Okay, it's like that's where all the spark plugs are. If you don't have enough fires going through the spark plugs, it doesn't matter if your car is a 4-cylinder or 6-cylinder, 8-cylinder. So glutathione supplies the cell's energy source. I mean, there are some technical names with something they call the but the key thing is it provides energy to the cell source. And then the final thing was what we were starting with, which is the A, the antioxidant part. But again, people need to understand that glutathione is the master antioxidant for a number of reasons. You may take zinc for a specific thing. You may take vitamin E for a specific thing. You may take vitamin D for a specific thing. Fred is an old school guy, and I love that about him. He was talking about glutathione is like a traffic cop. Let me give it a modern twist to what he just said.
Foster, he's not only old school, he's just old.
So okay, that's good. I take my hat off. Yeah, but here's the thing though. Glutathione is also referred to as a ubiquitous antioxidant. I know it's a mouthful. Ubiquitous is spelled ubiquitous. If you look the word up, ubiquitous, it simply says present or appearing or found everywhere.
Everywhere.
Glutathione is a ubiquitous antioxidant because it's present everywhere in the body. That is why sometimes when people ask, will your product do this for me? I say, yep. Would it do this for me? Yep. Would it do this for me? Yep. And they get confused.
How can some product do all of that?
Because it's non-specific. It looks after any and everything. And for some people, that is a little too vague. But let me give you a very simplistic solution. When we were kids, before the newborn start eating solid food, all they were relying on was mother's milk to survive.
Absolutely.
So when you look at immunocal, is something that takes care of everything. And I often refer to it as your own personal prescription for better health. You don't have to wait until you are sick before you look after yourself. So hopefully I've answered that.
It's all about maintenance. And look, I'm getting so excited talking about this particular molecule.
Yes.
Right? Because it's the amount of things that it does, and people are not aware because doctors just don't mention it.
Right.
To them,
For example,
right?
if you're a smoker, glutathione, you need to raise the levels,
lowers the glutathione
right?
level. If you drink too much coffee,
yeah,
lowers the glutathione level.
If you have poor nutrition, you need to, right?
If you exercise a lot, it lowers the glutathione level. So
car accident.
We're gonna get to
Right.
to explain, get to a point where we're gonna explain how you can raise the levels and sustain it on you know. I'm excited. Let me just say to our audience, if you're joining us for the first time, or if you're joining us late, you're listening to the Liquid Green Health Show on Reality Radio 101. Today, we're talking with a wonderful guest and my friend, Foster Owusu. None of us here are doctors, but we have the information that we can pass on to you that doctors will not tell you about. Today, we are discussing a very, very important molecule that can only be made in the human body, and it's called glutathione. It's spelled Glutathioне. All right.
And Foster, COVID-19, this pandemic has been a mess for so many. Is there any correlation? What can you tell us for somebody who has COVID? They talk about long COVID and some of the symptoms that they see that happens when the glutathione levels are depleted. Can you go into a little bit of that for us?
I would not be the best person to do that, but I would direct you to where you can get that for a number of reasons. You mentioned Dr. Jimmy Gutman. You've mentioned two doctors today. You mentioned Dr. Jimmy Gutman, who is the foremost authority on the subject of glutathione when it comes to materials and literatures that has been out there. And I want our listeners to follow him on Facebook and YouTube, because he has given a lengthy presentation on the COVID. And him being a licensed physician, I believe he's qualified to speak on the subject. What I will be willing to address will be the benefits of raising your glutathione level for an average person without even connecting any disease. Because the fact is, if you can stay healthy, who cares about diseases? But the most important thing is most people are not healthy because they don't know what to do. Most people are not healthy because they don't know what even cause things like diabetes, cancer, and all the things that, let's say, there are things that you and I can control. Let's think about this. When you're talking about a particular virus, there are things that we cannot control. Those things are going to be here with us as long as we're on this planet. But what do you do to make sure, Dr. Somerset, whom you mentioned earlier,
right?
He used to say that the best defense is cell defense. Think about this. He said the best defense is cell defense. Now, we as people, we are cell beings, whether you like it or not.
Yep.
You, Janet,
yep.
Out of one cell you were made. Fred,
yep.
One cell. But from head to toe, the body is made out of trillions of cells. But here's one big secret that most people don't know. Every single cell in our body depends on glutathione to be able to function
yep.
at the optimum level.
Yep.
Let me even give you another analogy. In the body, when you think about, let's say, what's the best example? When you look at the bone marrow, okay, that's where things like the T cells, and you can talk about the T killer cells, the B cells, and all this. Sometimes some people narrow it to what they call the fibroblasts, the microphagocytes and all. But the key thing is, think about this, Janet. Certain cells in the body, they are like Fred. When Fred used to be in the military, there are certain soldiers, you give them instruction to shoot.
Yes.
All they do is to shoot. Yeah. You understand? We have certain cells called the natural killer cells.
Yeah.
When they are instructed to kill, they must do their job. Guess what? these natural killer cells will not be able to function without adequate level of glutathione.
Yep.
And then let me give you one analogy before next section. And then we also have some military guys, I'll refer to them like the Canadian guys. These are the peacekeepers.
Okay.
These are what we call the T suppressor cells. When the immune system is out of whack, or when people are just firing bullets, somebody has to come as peacekeepers to say it's time to lay down your arms. That's why the immune system must have the equilibrium to be able to function. Some people have autoimmune disease because the immune system is out of whack.
Yeah.
Glutathione has the ability of balancing things out. So ask me a different question without mentioning diseases.
Okay. Well, actually, you're talking about military. I'm so happy that the cells actually do what they are told, what they were designed to do. Stem cells, they look after every different possible organ. We have those particular cells. Because you mentioned Fred being in the army. He was such a dissident. He was such a he was a soldier who questioned his command. And that's not good for a soldier.
He was supposed to shoot first and ask questions later.
I think, Frederick, you told me he lost a stripe because, what was that story? He lost a stripe because he disobeyed an order.
That's when you that's when you're lacking glutathione.
That is correct. But Janet, think about what you and Fred are talking about right now. There's something that is very important for people to know. One of them is called free radicals.
Yes.
And the other one is called oxidation.
So I was a free radical.
What you just described about Fred, that is the free radical behavior. It's a serious thing.
He's cholesterol. He's the cholesterol, right?
Yeah, it's a free radical behavior because, a free radical behavior is when electron is somehow unstable. Fred was unstable. He wasn't taking orders the way he should have.
Yes.
But I want to mention something here that again, Dr. Gutman, and I, like Foster, I think people should look him up on the internet.
Definitely.
Because he, in my opinion, is the guru when it comes to glutathione. But he mentioned some things here. He said, good sleep, right? Good diet, and food.
Exercise, limit stress.
Yeah, he talked about sleep, exercise, raising the glutathione level, and good diet. But when he talked about diet, one of the things he said, look, we eat a lot. A lot of us think that we're eating well, right? Because we go to the grocery store, we go to the health store, and we buy foods that are supposed to be loaded with nutrients. The problem with that is we are, fooled into a false, we believe what we see. The truth is, a lot of the food that we buy and consume, the nutrition content is not the same as they were 15, 20 years ago because of the process of agriculture, packaging, and all those stuff, right?
Correct.
So it's depleted. So we're eating plenty, but we're not eating well.
Right.
Sleep is another important factor. If you don't sleep well,
that's a biggie.
Your glutathione level can drop, you can gain weight, and you can lose your appetite. Exercise, all right?
What did you do today for exercise?
I walked. I walked around in the house.
Okay.
You don't see me.
Foster, I swam 2 hours today. So, and then we're out of glutathione. We're out of immunocal. We have to get our box ordered tomorrow.
Yeah, tomorrow.
Right?
But let me just continue here. Let me just continue. And I'm talking about, I'm getting to how we raise our glutathione level, right? The most important thing for us to do to maintain a healthy lifestyle is to make sure that our glutathione levels are raised and sustained. How do we do that? And I'm going to let Foster explain, the most efficient way of raising the glutathione level.
Because Foster, what they say is about 10% of our glutathione level. It's every decade we lose about 10%. So as we get older, the levels decline, right? So go ahead and talk about
I even have a better analogy than the 10% as we age. You have to look at every one of us on this call today. we have glutathione in our system. It's not me just saying it. If you don't have glutathione, you're dead. Anyway.
You'll be dead.
Okay,
Yeah.
so we have glutathione. You can do your own research to see that this subject is a very it's a vital topic if you get to understand it. So we were born with glutathione. Every human being every living being has glutathione. Yeah. Every living organism has glutathione, as Fred mentioned, whether it's plants, animals. Yeah. So the question then is, why do we need to supplement our glutathione? If we have it, why do we need to supplement? I think probably this is the question that is going to lead to raise the glutathione level. So as we've been told, we lose our glutathione level on a daily basis due to a number of reasons. So you have to look at having glutathione, even if you had full tank. When we were born, we came with full tank of glutathione. As we age, with the environment, with different things, like for example, some people unfortunately must take regular medications because of poor health, and they must do that. Unfortunately, as we understand from a person like Dr. Gutman and other researchers in that field, as you take in some of this prescription medication, the side effects is also depleting your glutathione level.
Yeah.
For some people, things like stress in their life is causing glutathione to deplete. We can talk about trauma. Yes, we can talk about some of the things that we mentioned, poor diet, okay? Radiation, we're all exposed to certain things. So there's a variety of things that causes glutathione to deplete. Here's the key thing though. If you had a full tank of gasoline 2 weeks ago, you know what happens. Every time you drove for a few kilometers, your glutathione level, just like fuel in the car, is going low and low and low. At some point, when you go from full tank to almost empty tank, if you ignore it, the car will die. Yep. It's no different from us. We must replenish glutathione level on a regular basis, because when we don't, the cells will die prematurely. Now, we mentioned the cells being the frontline soldiers in our body. If the cells are dying prematurely, then what do you think is going to happen to you and I? So elevating glutathione level is simply giving the cells and the body what it needs to be able to protect us. And some of the things that we mentioned, poor diet, drugs, stress, radiation, and all that are the things that causes glutathione to deplete.
And that leads us to a good opportunity to talk about what we can do to, or what we should be doing to raise the glutathione level. Yes. But before we get to that, Foster, I just wanted to read some of the emails that we've been getting. Here's one from Darlene. Hello, Fred and Janet. She's from New York City. I just sent you, let me enlarge this so I can get a better view. Yeah, I just sent you your link to 30 people. Love the show. Thanks for taking care of my health. So there's another 30 people who have just been informed today about the importance.
Thank you so much, Darlene.
Thank you so much, Darlene.
And we're going to ask everybody else who's listening to go and do the same.
Yes,
and
please,
even outperform Darlene.
Here's another one from Tina. Janet, this is terrible about your prescription cost. What about the generic form of the drug? Is the drug Synthroid? I love you guys, listening from Bismarck, North Dakota.
I just want to mention that very quickly. It is the synthetic, but apparently it comes in certain portions, like 0.15 or so. It just depends on the amount, and the cost varies with the amount. But thanks for asking. Thanks for asking. Because sometimes we answer these questions because it affects other people as well.
Yes. Right? Here's one from Greg, and Greg says, I'm a chemist. Glutathione is involved in tissue building and repair. It is amazing for this. You also need this for immune function. Right. And that's what we're talking about.
And I think the name Immunicol is so appropriate.
It's so appropriate. Right. And there was another name that it was called prior, and I'll let Foster explain that. Here's one from Amy. Hi to Liquid Green. Wow, I am impressed. I listened last week, and this week's show is amazing.
It's amazing this week because I'm here. Thank you, Amy.
All right. What knowledge that we get from you thank you. Thank you as well, Amy. That's a wonderful email. And
okay, and Brian?
Yeah, I'm Brian.
Brian says,
hold on.
Hi to Liquid Green. Is this a supplement that we can take, or do we get it from food only? Thank you. And Brian, we're going to take your question and go back to Foster.
Yeah, and Foster will answer that question more appropriately. This is, I'm just going to read this one, then we get back to Foster. This one is from Amy. Go ahead.
This is, hi, Janet and Fred. This is a very important issue for all of us humans. It pisses me off that doctors, unless they're homeopathic, do not really ever tell us about these types of supplements. It is all about the money, big pharma. Thanks for sharing from Grand Rapids, Michigan.
Thank you very much.
With you. I do
100%
believe
on that one.
we need the doctors,
yeah,
but we also need to do our own research.
We need doctors that can tell us the truth, right? Okay. And this one is from Rita. Hello. What is a normal dosage for this supplement? And again, I'm going to pass this question on to Foster when we get back into what can be done. And I just want to say thank you, Rita. That's a wonderful question. Yes. And so let us get back to, the things that we've been talking about. So Foster, we've talked about glutathione, but before we continue on that, we've been getting questions like what's dosage
about the
and stuff like that.
So
tell us in the simplest form about this remarkable substance. I don't want to say it's a miracle, but it's a remarkable product that I honestly believe every single human being should be taking, bar none. So tell us about it.
Foster, the first thing I want to say about it is it tastes good.
Yeah.
I really like it.
I love it. Both forms. Both forms. Well,
it tastes good, but also it's because they've given you the power to make it taste good. Yeah. First of all, I'm looking at the box right here. Okay, this is wonderful. Regular box, and we're gonna put some stuff on it. And this is the Immunocar Platinum, and we'll get into. But let me first say this: it tastes good because you can mix this with your favorite beverage. And I have to put a little disclaimer for those people who consider beverage thinking you have to mix it with rum and all that. Some bad boys. No, you can mix this.
Water,
yogurt, orange juice, water. Yeah. My personal preference is almond milk because I just love almond milk.
Yes, me too.
So every single person can mix this the way they want it.
Mm-hmm.
Because it is protein, and I'm glad that we have a chemist on the line. Because it is protein, you don't want to apply things like something hot is going to break the bioactivity of the protein. So you don't want to do that. As long as it's room temperature or cold, you can use it. Now, when it comes to how you use Immunocar, this is what I really like about it. You don't need to wait until you are sick. So for those who are proactive about their health, a box like this has 30 pouches in it. So you can take one pouch and use that and make that part of your daily regimen, okay? However, if a person is experiencing, let's say, or a person over 50, i.e. somebody that I know on this.
You're not calling my name?
No, I'm not calling names.
Well, both of us, I'm not happy to say,
Okay. Once you are 50 and up, and let's say you're undergoing, some medical condition, whatever, then the recommendation is to take 2 pouches. And this is no different from, let's say, when a person is getting prescription for some, let's say antibiotics or all that, depending on the severity of whatever, the dosage might be a bit stronger. This is the same. The beauty about this is you cannot overdose on this. It has something called negative feedback inhibition.
Mm-hmm.
And let me explain that, because some people, when you tell them you cannot overdose on this, they become a little suspicious. Look at your cell phone as an example. When you charge your phone and it gets to 100%, it doesn't go to 101, 102, 105. There's a maximum. So when this hits the maximum level, it shuts up and is stored in your liver until it depletes again and re-kicks in. It's like some cars today, you come to you come to a stop and it shuts up. And then when you take your foot off the brake, it starts again. the same way when it's needed, it will come back and kick it. So you take 1 pouch a day, okay, for maintenance or for prevention, and you take 2 pouches a day when you are dealing with some real health problems. So in terms of dosage, I believe that is the answer. But how to take it is more about people who are now aware that even in the emergency ward, hospitals, they have ways of raising glutathione level in a real emergency situation.
Yeah, like after a car accident.
The question is, why wait until such time? Mm-hmm. Now, you were getting a little too hard on the doctors today, Janet. But let's be mindful that the doctors have their role.
Absolutely.
God forbid, if I have a broken leg, okay, I'm not saying this is the first thing that I'm gonna take. You know, I need a surgeon, okay?
Yes,
so doctors have their role.
Absolutely.
But what I'm saying is, on a day-to-day basis, if there's something you can do in terms of what we call health responsibilities, that's what I call, this is your personal prescription for better health. When your immune system is healthy, then you don't even have to join the propagandas and all the stuff that is going. When you take care of yourself, you know, we talk about, you get in the plane, right? And they tell you in case of oxygen loss, what must you do? Put on your oxygen mask before you help somebody.
Yeah.
If you start looking after your health and your health is improving, now you can tell somebody who can tell somebody who can tell somebody. So in that case, we don't even need to blame the doctors. We don't need to blame them. If we know what to do, they can keep their job and we can do what we need to do.
And you know what, Foster, that leads also to the product. We talk about it, and I remember we got an email once and the person said, oh, there are so many supplements out there. Most of them are, you know, no good, whatever. Could you tell us a little bit about the company? I know we talked about it last week because I didn't listen to you and Fred afterwards, but the fact that it's the research, the clinical research, not just on rats or, you know,
it was done on humans, and that's the most important
human research, and how it is that this product is able to be listed in the compendiums, whether US or the CPS, I think the Canadian book that doctors use.
PDR and the CPS in
right?
Canada and United States.
The fact that this product is one of the only supplements, natural supplement, that can be listed in the books that a doctor could actually write a prescription for.
Yeah, I mean, Janet, you know, I tell people all the time that I'm not the smartest person, but I can also tell you, I know how to find good things. And Immunocar is one of those things. And I can tell you why.
Next to your wife, of course.
Of course, yes. but I think you are making a very important point. Fred asked a brilliant question last week, and he gave the audience a little background about why I have been with the same company for almost 24 years. And it's simply because of the research behind what I represent. You know, Immunocar was originally a Canadian government-funded project. The doctors who were working on this product were professors at McGill University, and they were getting government funding. And this goes back in the early 70s, and the first publication on this product was in 1978. But back in 1975, Dr. Bunos, whose picture is right behind me, he was the one who initiated the studies that led to the discovery of this product called Immunocar. But here's the problem. In 1993, he retired from McGill University with his brain still active, but the product was not yet available. That's when those three big names that I mentioned last week, the Molsons, the Chuck Roberts, and Mr. D. Tabir, put their millions behind it to further that research. So when you look at the first 20 years behind this product, everything was research. There was no company in the picture until 1996 when the company was established to bring the product to market. So the product was researched first before any marketing, structure was put in place. And for me, that's what makes Immunotech very unique. You were making one point, and I'll say this before we wrap this up, that every single person brags about their product. And of course, yes.
Of course.
You, Fred, and Jana, you know different. Everybody brags about your mom's cooking is the best and all that. But who else is saying that besides yourself? That is where Immunotech, we say Immunotech documentation beats conversation. Why?
Yes.
We are the first and the only one that was listed in what we call the PDR, which in the US stands for Physician's Dex Reference. It's the book that holds every approved pharmaceuticals. As a natural product, we were the first to be in there in the immune system. In Canada, we are in the CPS, which stands for the Compendium of Pharmaceuticals and Specialties. Natural products don't go in there unless you have the credibility to establish. Also, we were the first in the category to have what we call NPN number, natural product number, in that category. So you have to look at the science behind it. So when people are saying, well, we have something similar, all you have to ask them is, show me the science and the research behind it, then we can say we have something similar.
And I'm glad you mentioned that. I mean, we run out of time, and there's so much we can talk about when it comes to this product, what it does and why you should be taking it. But Foster, before the product was called Immunicol or Immunicol Platinum, it had a different name. Could you tell our audience what that name was and why specifically it was given that name?
Yeah, so the original name was HMS90. So the H stands for humanized and the M stands for milk serum. When this product first came out, the Canadian government would not allow the company to put the word Immunicol because they said it was going to make immune claim. But when they did, and I'm glad that we have a chemist on the line, when they did the chemical analysis and all that, which I don't understand how, chemists and all that do this stuff, they realized this is the closest thing to mother's milk. So the Canadian government assigned the company to give it the name that describes the immune system and the similarity around the mother's milk. And that's why the name HMS90. But of course, as it went to the United States, another part of the world, they say, come on, let's call it what it is. We know that this thing protects the immune system. Final thing, the doctor who discovered the HIV virus, Dr. Luc Montagnier, when he wrote his book, it's called Oxidative Stress in Neurodegenerative Diseases and Application in AIDS and Cancer, he devoted an entire chapter to this product. This is the only natural product that Dr. Luc Montagnier, the man who discovered HIV, put it in his book. That book is about 6 inches thick. Why would Dr. Luc Montagnier, who does not work for our company, put our product in his book?
As Jamaicans, we say, Immunicol, we have vacative.
Vacative, okay.
Vacative.
Whatever that is, it sounds good to me.
I was listening to a guy today from Trinidad, and he was just talking about all the different words that are used differently, and the things we say. Every country, every language has that. So for Jamaicans, Immunicol, we have vacative.
Yeah, Jamaicans just have to spice it up. That's all.
Of course.
and I want to tell the public how they can get this wonderful product.
Please do. Please do.
It's Immunicol, IMMUNOCAL. That's the name of the product.
Spell it again.
Immunicol, IMMUNOCAL. Immunicol. It's made by a Canadian company that's called Immunotech, based in Montreal, Canada. And if you would like to get this product, and I think you should really get this product because it's going to do wonders for you and your
Fred, hold a second. I know where you're going, but let me do a better job. But you get information ready. You've given the name of the product, but I want your listeners to understand this. We are building a community. The company behind this product is called Immunotech. That is true. But they have a very simple distribution channel where it's built based on team collective effort. We receive commission when we move volume through the company's whatever. If you decide to use the product, there are 2 ways to have access to the product. You become a customer or you become a consultant like myself. For you to become a customer, you have to be referred by a registered consultant. In this case, Janet and Fred. I was the one who referred them. Therefore, if you decide to get a product, they're going to put a link, and that's where I don't want you to just start searching for Immunocal, because then it will put you on to somebody else. Then it doesn't help any of us building this community. However, Fred is going to give you the link. And if you decide, please, if you decide to take a consultant account, I personally want you to make sure that you get hold of Fred and you get hold of me. I want to give you my personal phone number. Just let us know you got the information on the Liquid Green Show.
Health Show.
Because I would like to explain to you the process. But now, Fred, go ahead and give them the link where they can get information. And spell it slowly. Don't go Guyana style.
No, I'm not going to go Guyana or Jamaican style. Okay, we have just 3 minutes in the show, so let me do it very quickly. To get this product, you go to Immunotech, IMMUNOTEC.com/AHA. That's the letter AHA. Immunotech.com. IMMUNOTEC.com/AHA. That's what it is. Right.
Now, Fred, here's something. Sometimes some people want a phone number. Yes. I want you to give my phone number.
Yes.
Let the listeners make sure when they call, they should make reference that they heard about this through the Liquid Green Show.
Yes.
And my phone number is 416, that's the area code, 416-300, like 300-1284, 416-300-1284. And thank you, Janet, for being here. I'm glad that you came today.
Yeah, you beat me to it. Thank you so much. We have a couple of minutes. When I say thank you,
you're 1 minute.
1 minute. Okay. Coming up in September, can you believe August is done? Right? It's now the end of 8 months since we've been doing this show.
Wow,
and we're thousands of listeners later. Every week we add at least 100 IP addresses. So we're really proud of that. Yes. I do believe, Foster, it's Frederick's voice they like to hear.
No, they love the way I look. It's not just my voice. I'm a very handsome man because of Immunocal.
No, really, Frederick, I just said that, but really it's because of the fantastic guests that we have on. And so next week, we're hoping to get somebody to talk about a subject, September, we're getting back to school. It's going to be a subject not as very important about what happens when we pass and the things we need to put in place. And 2 weeks from now is going to be my birthday, and we're going to have a very special show for that day.
And with that, folks, we would like to say this has brought us to the end of our broadcast. Today, we end the broadcast with this. Life is short, so take your health seriously. Make it priority 1 in your life. So until next week, same time, same place, this is Janet and Fred saying, let's stay healthy. I need to say one last thing. I'm going to shout out happy birthday. When we leave the show, we're going to my girlfriend's birthday, Sandra Davis, happy birthday. We'll see you in a minute, and I'm coming for some curry and some wine. This is Reality Radio 101. Okay. Good night, everybody. Have fun. Right. Thanks, Foster. Thanks, Foster.
Thank you for listening to the Liquid Green Health Show with your hosts, Fred and Janet Cox, right here on Reality Radio 101.